and voted today. So here I am. I voted and made a difference. Oh, I hate when I have it this far away. I can't see the screen. But anyway, I got a shirt. I will show. Oh, wow. And I got this Trump Force 1, Trump Force 47. And can't get more fun than that. Oh, it's going to be great. So who's going to win? Is it going to be Camel Toe Harris? Or is it going to be Trump? We are going to find out. So what I'm going to do is put on the news channel. I'm going to put on the live channels. All right. So I'm going to find out. We'll have the news. Oh, TV live election 2024.
And it seemed like the right thing. So,
well, I mean, and that's really important, Richard, because I wanted to ask you this. You know, this election season has been incredibly contentious. And, you know, in some areas, the mood is tense. But you mentioned that everyone was in a good mood on this election day, which is really interesting to know. You know, and you were also talking about on election
4
day,
years
the line
since
being
my dad's
extremely
passed,
long. I
so
myself
this
voted
election
early,
day will be
and
the first
the
time he
polling
isn't here.
staff said they have never seen
And we
a
always
line
would
that
call
long
each
before.
other
When it comes to
after
early voting,
we
when it
would
comes
vote
to
and talk
election
about
day
it. So it's
voting,
been,
and
the
really
lines
the
are
record
2 hours
number, at
long. It's
least we
worth
know
it.
as of
And
yet, the early voters.
you're making a
What
decision.
does that
This
signify
is
for this
Make
election?
America Great Again.
well,
I got
there was
Trump.
tremendous interest. There was tremendous excitement. And, you know, I have rarely
I'm gonna
seen
wear
something
this
like this where
tomorrow at work.
both sides, I mean, look, both sides could say
But you can't
what they
see it,
want
you
about
know,
this and how they
just,
want to
you
read
know,
into
now
it.
I'm wearing it.
But I think both sides have turned out a lot of people. I mean, we have states that have turned
And
out
I'm a
50% of
captain.
their voters already before we got to today. So it's a very different system now than we've had any time in our past.
And this
But
is,
it's
you
sort of
decide,
interesting, you know,
live
in 2016, especially in 2020,
Fox, live
Donald
now
Trump
from
was
Fox
railing
News.
against
They're
early voting
talking
and telling these
about,
people not to do it.
you know,
Well, I think he realized that early voting is a great thing. And I don't think it's a political thing. I don't think it's a partisan thing anymore. I think both Democrats and Republicans
it's
understand
really heating
that,
up. I hope
having one
everyone
day to go
has
vote,
a
Tuesday,
wonderful day.
doesn't always work for them. You know, they have work commitments, they have family commitments, they got to get the kids to school, you know, whatever they need to be doing. It just doesn't work for them. Maybe they're a newscaster who has to be at the studio, you know, at the station. So there are many reasons that early voting makes sense. But what's interesting about what's going on is the huge numbers of people who have voted early.
I know there was a lot of people voting early. It's been,
never seen this before. I think it's
a lot of people are like happy. They're like, well, you know, another 4 years after that. So let's see how everything goes. There's a lot of voters, so it's like, well.
It is a wonderful thing that
I'm gonna
people
brush
have the
my hair.
opportunity to vote. And let's just make it as easy as we can for people to vote. We need a voting system that's fair and open and transparent, and we understand who votes and who doesn't, and who should and who shouldn't. But anyone who wants to vote should get the chance to vote. And
I got to vote.
Making it a little easier on people, expanding the window to vote, I think is critical to keeping our democracy alive.
And also making voting accessible. I think perhaps we have been hearing from people who said that they weren't going to vote this election season, disinterested, and now there seems to be more engagement, really finding some of the issues that have been discussed.
I'm just brushing
the
my
economy,
hair.
Immigration,
it's not that bad. It's
women's
just
reproductive rights,
stuff.
some of these issues, many of them really talking about.
So I'm hoping that everybody is getting out. You don't have to get out to vote, you know. I always used to say that, but
the high level issues that people feel don't pertain to them. For this election season, have you
So
seen
I
that
hope
more than ever
everybody
when it
does
comes
get out to
to
vote so they feel
issues
good.
and
Well, I do after
initiatives
I
that
vote.
really
I always get free
speak to
shit,
the
so that's why I go
core
to vote, man.
of people's
I got
values and
my
of people's priorities?
America great
Well,
again.
it's sort of interesting
And
because
I
there's two
am
things going on at
now.
the same time.
You're going to have to call me El
1992 was
Capitan.
all about the economy,
I'm a
stupid. With Bill
captain.
Clinton
I'm a
running
captain.
against George Bush. So we've seen the
So
dinner table type of things go on for a long time. You know,
I'm
Ronald
really
Reagan, "Oh, you're
excited.
better off today than
And
you were
I
40
just
years ago."
wanted to put that out there. See who's going to come
People are
out.
very concerned about prices. You can't go anywhere. I don't
So
care
I'm
if
going to
you're
bring out my
Democrat
tarot
or
cards because
Republican. I
I'm
don't
just
care who
bored.
you are.
I'm going to see
People talk about
what
prices
my life's
now.
going
Some
to turn
people
out.
blame
Ooh.
President Biden up for it. Some people blame the pandemic. People blame different people for it. But fundamentally, people are concerned with everyday type of issues, the type of things that affect their families, their ability to get on with their lives. This is a really big issue. It's not going to be solved today, with this election. But, the price of eggs, the price of cookies, the price of gas, which has gone down, fortunately, a lot. But people not being able to buy a house, people who are making really good livings who just can't buy a house, is really troubling. And the whole concept, the whole
I wish we had
American
bigger
dream
tags
concept
saying that we
people
voted,
can live
I
a certain
voted
life
and I'm proud of
and
myself.
achieve in the United States
I just
is at
lost my
risk.
tag.
That's not a political comment. It doesn't matter what party you're at. People feel it and they hear it and they talk about it. And these are the type of issues
So
I
I'm going
find
to see what's
that
going in
you, in
for
a way,
my
could get
future.
beyond politics because people can talk about it and they can share this. Look, I'm just as concerned about the price of food as someone who's not going to vote the way I did. So we can
let's
share
see what
that.
else. This is kind of
Right. No, absolutely. I did want to.
Fox. Okay, let's see.
Because of relatively lower African American turnout after the Obama administration. Now, that said, there has been a lot of doubling down on the African American turnout here, but we talked to the Secretary of State's office. They told us that they don't believe that Wayne County turnout is going to even match 2020 numbers, which is not a good sign for the Harris camp. In addition to that, Wayne County also has the largest percentage of Arab American voters, and we talked to so many Arab American voters who say they just can't bring themselves to vote for Harris because they are so upset about the war in Gaza. They say that even knowing that on some level Trump would be even more pro-Israel on the Gaza issue. We talked to one Democrat, lifelong Democrat, who said she was a Bernie supporter. She voted for Biden, but she couldn't bring herself to vote for Harris. She went with Jill Stein, the independent
Gotta
candidate.
stand
and that kind
back.
of depressed turnout, maybe
Because
what we're
Israel's
seeing
sometimes
in Wayne
been
County,
the
and
only
that is
one
a trouble sign. The
standing,
question is,
holding
can
our pants
Democrats
up
hold that blue
because
wall?
we forgot to put a belt on.
Right, that so-called uncommitted vote, right, that we have heard about now for months, sort of taking a major chunk of that Democratic margin. Also, Juju, what is the glue, though, that could see the vice president actually taking Michigan? Again, I know you spoke with voters that were there to really support her.
Absolutely. Well, there are some interesting tea leaves in the early vote. When you look at certain areas like East Lansing or Ann Arbor, those are obviously very
Ann
famous
Arbor
college
is
towns.
a
University
college.
of Michigan, Michigan State University.
It's more college than anything, and then Lansing is the capital of Michigan, so yeah,
numbers
I
of
could see
students
where
doing what
they're
they call
going.
dorm storming. That's 80,000 dorm rooms that they've knocked on, and tabling, which gives information out to people who pass by, registering people who pass by, passing out pamphlets, and then most importantly, today, getting people to the polls. And he believes that that kind of energy will lift, the Democratic ticket. Now, will that be enough to shore up those cracks in the blue wall? It's hard to know. The biggest X factor, of course, is women. And you remember that in the midterms, Michigan was one of the first states to put abortion statewide, and that caused a big blue wave here. So that may be the critical glue. Women are critical.
Yes, we are
No
critical.
question about that, and the gender gap in this
That's what
election
they
is huge.
said.
And I
We
also
are
think it's been really
critical.
telling
I
how much
am.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, just
This
the
is
amount of time
ABC
they have spent
News.
there in Michigan recently. It's absolutely fascinating.
Key
Juju Chang,
battleground
thank you
states
so
is
much for being
Michigan.
here with
Michigan's
us.
always a
And as we all know,
battleground
security is
for
tight at polling
the
places
two.
across this country. The
Yeah.
National Guard Bureau
I
is
just
tracking
worry
multiple
about
states and
our,
providing support to state agencies amid some of these safety concerns. Our ABC News
which
senior Washington
is
reporter
the
Devin Dwyer is
Constitution
joining me
is
for
very
more on this. So, look,
important.
Devin, we know security experts say the nation's voting infrastructure is strong and safe, but the country has still added these extra safety measures, right? They're in place right now. What more can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Ken, as the focus now shifts to counting ballots, a few things that are important to keep in mind. First of all, our
So
election
I'm
system
really
is highly
excited.
decentralized,
Yeah,
right?
it's
Each
different.
state has its
I
own
get some
rules,
different
own
stuff.
technology, and that has made
Okay,
it harder
well,
for outside powers to manipulate
I already know
the
what's said
results.
in
So
that.
that's sort of something in the plus factor. Also, more than 98%
These ones
of
are
ballots this year are expected
old, so
to be
I've
cast on
bought
paper.
the same ones
That's a
and
shift
replace
away
them.
over the past 10 years from some machines that didn't use
So
paper.
let's
We
find out
always
what my
have
first
that
card
paper
is.
record
Oh
of
my
this
gosh,
vote.
I got
And officials tell me that
the
is something that a
mountain, which
lot
is
of
a
people
big
should take
obstacle.
confidence in. And then the
And my
machines that will
second
tabulate
card,
these
I
results
got
over the next few days, Kana, have
a
been
canceled
verified, they've been
event.
certified, they've been tested in most states, and I've observed some of this testing, especially the battlegrounds, has been done in public, so
a
people
real
can see
tall,
it.
skinny
So there's a
lady
good
who's
degree of
very mean.
confidence in the system,
An
and as one
older
official just told
person.
me, they're tracking that this election will be the most
Hard
secure
times.
ever now as they begin the counting.
Tree.
And that is critically important.
Information.
That, everyone that is voting today and that has voted previously hear that. Devin Dwyer, thank you so much for being here with us today.
You bet.
And the
All right, coming up
fox.
next here on ABC News Live in our special coverage of Election Night in America, voters across this country are deciding right now whether Donald Trump or Kamala Harris should lead us. Stay with us.
I call her Camel Toe. It's Camel Toe Harris.
Wasn't hard. With Cologuard, I did it my way. Cologuard.
Cologuard is for people 45 plus at average risk, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur.
Screen for colon cancer in your home, your way.
Ask your provider.
So I can now look. I'll wear my shirt, my new shirt. I'm a captain. I've been raised to captain.
And play your perfect combination at Pechanga Resort Casino.
Why is this so hard? I just want a new TV!
You're still doing that?
It's so confusing!
Dude.
What if we got a Roku TV? It's great for streaming and it updates itself so it keeps getting better.
That's better. Less screaming, more streaming. Roku.
It appears we have what is called an impasse. An impasse is a situation that has no
So let's
apparent
make
solution.
America great
How
again.
do we resolve a
Oh,
situation of
boy.
this nature?
The legend begins all over again. It's bigger, better, and more intense than ever before. Welcome back to Fear Factor. 5 teams, 5
No.
teams, 1 winner. Fear Factor.
All the possum sounds.
So I've been using new vitamins that have been advertised on a lot of social media, and they do work. I've been using this one,
Free on the Roku channel.
and I've been using this one. So it's like 2.
With big stars and epic
So,
movies.
yeah.
You dig?
I sure do.
Shades of Black. Watch now.
Best start here.
So let's see what Michigan brings us.
All right, welcome back. We're kind of going state
Let
by
me
state
do-
for you
let's
as voting
see
is now
who's-
underway in
let's
the
see
critical
if-
presidential swing state of Nevada.
I still think
Nevada's
Trump's
voted for the
gonna win,
Democratic
but
presidential
it's
nominee
like,
in every
will
election cycle
Trump
since
win? Do you think
2008.
he will
But
win?
it's been with really tight margins.
It's a
Former
tight
President
margin, they
Trump
said.
lost Nevada in 2016 and 2020 with
Well, I'll tell you
President
this
Biden
much, I
winning
seen
the silver state
for
by over 2
everyone,
percentage
Camel
points
Toe
in
Harris,
2020.
I
Now, ABC
seen
News' Maria Villarreal
30
is joining me now live from
Trump
Las Vegas with more on this
over
race
Camel
in
Toe.
Nevada. So,
They just couldn't
Maria, let's
afford
talk a
it.
little
You
bit
know,
about
they
some
had
of
to
this
buy
early vote, right?
their
It sounds like
alcohol.
Republicans have actually
So they can
outvoted
deal
the
with each
Democrats
other.
in this early voting in Nevada. But we really know these candidates have been after those independents, right? What do we know about that?
That's exactly right. You know, I think Republicans were feeling really good about being in the driver's seat early on,
CBS
knowing that
live
they
coverage
had a good amount
news.
of early voters come in, whether that's by mail-in ballot or in person. But what they fail to also take a look at, or at least talk about more than that, is the amount of independent, nonpartisan voters. We're talking about over 300,000 that voted. Earlier, I basically compared it to, you know, the nonpartisan voter is like that last card that you get in a poker game, right? The river card. It's
Gotta
the idea
love
that
it.
you always know it's going to change the
Hey,
game.
guess what I
and
got?
It's very
I got the
unpredictable.
heart.
So at this point, I think both sides are
And
still getting out. They are pounding the pavement today. They are making an effort to tell people, listen, if you haven't voted, and we know that you're registered and you need to get out and vote, because really it all counts. It's really important to both sides.
And that was a really interesting analogy there for the independent voter in that poker card. I loved it, Maria. And as you're talking, we're showing video as well of some polling locations inside Las Vegas as well. And we know, unfortunately, from analysts, they keep saying it's going to take a while till we know who won Nevada. If you look back at 2020, 2022, kind of slow to get their election results out. I know you spoke with the Secretary of State. What are you learning?
I mean, listen, I tried to talk to him a little bit more about what happened in 2022 and 2020, but he was not the Secretary of State then. So for him, it's a non-conversation starter. He's not going to compare because he's a completely different, you know, elections administrator for the entire state of Nevada, and he has come in guns blazing, looking to put in some new projects in place. I mean, one of those, as you saw earlier today, is putting Allegiant Stadium on the map as a polling site and wanting taxpayers to know, hey, you paid for this stadium. You should be able to see your taxpayers' dollars at work and come in and vote as an incentive as well, right? We also spoke with the Secretary of State about the early vote mail-in ballot and what that looks like and why he is so confident that the results will come in once that last voter votes here in Nevada and the polls close. Take a listen to what he said to us earlier.
You know, clerks across the state could start processing 15 days before election day their mail ballots that they've had on from early mail. Clark County was caught up as of Saturday night. There was no mail for them to process on Sunday, and yesterday they got right back at it. And so having these new processes, having these new systems, and they started tabulating this morning at 8 a.m. in-person early vote.
Wow.
You know, Kana, I think for him, this is a really good indicator of what is to come later on tonight. Again, nothing is perfect, but he is confident that that first batch of results that will come when the polls do close here in Nevada will be a hefty one.
No question about that. All right, Maria Villarreal in Las Vegas, thank you so much for being with us today. We also want to talk today about the Latino vote. It is a crucial voting bloc in this country. They're now the second largest group of voting age Americans. In fact, Pew Research estimating that from 2016 to 2024, the number of Latinos eligible to vote grew from 27 million to 36 million. I want to bring in ABC News contributor Maria Elena Salinas for more on this. So glad to have you with us. And let's talk specifically about Puerto Ricans in the crucial battleground state of Pennsylvania. We saw just yesterday, the vice president went and stopped by a Puerto Rican restaurant. She was there with AOC. How is she taking this moment to sort of capitalize on those comments that were made at Trump's Madison Square Garden rally with the comedian? Everyone remembers, right? He insulted Puerto Rico entirely. And she is pouncing on that.
Exactly, Kana. You know, she's reminding them that this is not the first time that they have been wronged by Donald Trump. She has been reminding them that after Hurricane Maria, he delayed aid to the island. And when he did go to Puerto Rico, he threw paper towels at them. Even though it wasn't former President Trump who personally made the joke, they feel that he didn't do much to disavow it. You know, it certainly helped Vice President Harris that she immediately got the endorsement of some of the most high-profile, influential Puerto Rican entertainers like Bad Bunny, J-Lo, Ricky Martin, Mark Anthony, and Luis Fonsi, among others. You know, there was a poll by Univision and YouGov in Pennsylvania after the incident that shows that 69% consider the Puerto Rico joke more racist than humorous, and 71% of Puerto Ricans thought that even if it was intended as a joke, the comments suggest that there is racism within Trump's campaign. You know, Puerto Ricans are a very proud community. In the state of Pennsylvania, they can sway
George,
herself out of
my
what,
rooster,
16,
my big black cock,
650,000
my big black
Latinos
cock
eligible to vote
got
there. There's
a bunch
more
of
than
Doritos.
400,000 that are
That's what
Puerto
he
Rican.
got.
And there's also indication that,
So
the
let's-
insult on Puerto Rico could also influence the vote of other Latino voters who have expressed outrage at the incident in solidarity with Puerto Ricans.
And as you know all too well, the Latino vote does not only impact the top of the ticket. Let's talk a little bit about some of these congressional races where the Latino vote is crucial. As you and I sit and have this conversation on opposite coasts, I know full well that it is a vital voting bloc here in California. In fact, I want to share with you that the chairperson of the Republican Party here in California told me the Latino vote is truly the road back to sanity here in California.
Right, because especially in California, I'm from California, and I know that the Latino community has grown so much there. It's one of the many minority majority states. I think it will make a difference in some races.
Well,
the one that comes
Latinos
to
get
mind
out and
is
vote in California.
Arizona, between Ruben Gallego and Carrie Lake. There, I think that you will see Latinos support Gallego. And here in
You
Florida,
gotta see
I
my
think that they're
Keith. It's
really
like,
hoping that Debbie Mercosel will be able to beat Rick Scott.
All
The
that.
polls are very
We're
close,
gonna
they're
have some
very tight.
Keith.
But Florida
It's
is
like
different because
Kiefer
Florida is probably the
Sutherland.
only state in the country where
Yeah, I'm
Republicans
Kiefer.
have more support than Democrats. It's an outlier.
yeah.
And the rest of the country, Democrats are still.
I'm
Latinos are
partying it
still
up.
supporting
I'm gotta
Democrats
get
in
my
high
shot
numbers.
glass
So
because
there
I'm gonna go
definitely
take
will
a
be
nap.
some races
So
that will be impacted by the Latino vote. But mostly I think it will be at the top of the ticket where you still have a lot of support from Latinos for Vice President Harris. And I know that former President Trump has made some inroads with Latinos, but late polls seem to indicate she has regained some of that support that she had lost.
Well, we will certainly see here in the final hours and coming days. Maria Elena Salinas, it's always such a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks for being with us. And we have a lot more special coverage ahead here of Election Night in America. Donald Trump and Kamala Harris both looking to win the White House. Stay with us.
oh, come on. We want to hear one or the other. We don't want to hear.
What's Rec Room? This is Rec Room. Play millions of user-created games. Express yourself. Build anything you want. Go anywhere you can imagine.
My cat is in love with these delectables. You know what they are? It's Perrier stuff in this. So I'm just going to buy Perrier food and just save a little bit of money because well, those are expensive.
Your life goes on uninterrupted because you'll have power when you need it the most.
So I will be getting
Make it so hard on yourself. Have a Generac home standby generator. And special financing and low monthly payment options are available. Call or go online now to request your free quote to power your life with Generac.
I'm gonna get out of here, do something that will cheer us up.
See, now I'm a captain. So
All I have tried to do is whatever it takes to just get us back to our lives.
I care about you and admire you, and I'm falling in love with you.
Spark TV. Well,
Shades of
I
Black.
feel like
We
I want to
celebrate
cry. Oh
Black
God.
culture. Yes. With big stars and epic movies.
You dig? I sure do.
Everyone's in a constant
So
state of
Michigan has not been tallied.
You just can't go around killing everybody. Oh my God.
Let's see if they win Michigan.
She just said your phone.
Can we change the subject?
You're gonna have to talk to somebody if you want your check, sweetie.
Everything you are and everything you have. Cousin and Butler. Shades of Black. Watch now.
I don't have to tell you, it is election day in America, and no matter the outcome, history will be made in this election. Vice President Harris could become the first woman to ever serve as president of the United States, or former President Trump, if he's the winner, he would become the first person elected president after being convicted of a crime, and only the second president in history to win another term after losing a first attempt at re-election. ABC News contributor and presidential historian Mark Updegrove is joining me now for more on this. And so, Mark, it's interesting here. We know that Vice President Harris has had the shortest campaign in modern history, though I'll share with you, we had a Republican surrogate push back on that and say, no,
Yeah,
no, no.
because goddamn, she's dumb as a box of fucking rocks.
As she served as vice president. Either way, this is an incredibly close race that we will see history no matter what. What is the thing that you're looking out for the most in this moment?
Well, I'm obviously interested in what voters decide. This is such a close election, and these are so. The candidates are so markedly different, Kana. They represent different views on America and on America's position in the world. So I'm very interested in seeing what Americans ultimately decide. We know it's tight as a tick right now. It's about as close as a presidential race from being.
So, did you get out and vote?
Voter turnout and what those undecideds eventually decide when they get into the voting booth. So I'm looking at what direction
let's make America great.
Country will
get out and
based
vote.
On which of these very different presidents they ultimately choose.
Keep a prayer in your pocket and love it.
And what does that say about us as a
and
country?
all the rest.
Tight as a tick.
I got plenty of these. Look what I bought from Walmart. I got a lot of your number ones for all the people who are haters. Go and hug somebody, make someone's day, open the door for someone that needs help. And don't expect nothing back. It's good to feel good.
How significant would that be
Have a
to see
good
something
one.
like that again?
All right, bye.
That's a pretty big deal.